Planet Dolan.
From looming strangers to wandering ghosts, the Planet Dolan crew reenacts some of the best true stories from our subreddit about the creepiest things we've experienced while on vacation. My name is Nixium, and today I'll be your narrator. Number 10 was submitted by danasialeenikiya, or however you pronounce that. When Andy Mations was 21, she went on a vacation to Hawaii with her boyfriend Adam. They were having fun, but as they walked on the beach, they saw a really old man. He stared at Andy, but Adam noticed it first and told her. She glanced at him and then got really creeped out. Andy told Adam that she had to go, so she went inside their hotel to use the bathroom. After finishing, she walked out and she saw the old man staring at her from the hallway. Now she was really freaked out. He just stared at her with a blank expression, not saying anything. She went to Adam, but didn't see the old man for the rest of the night. They went into their hotel room and, while they were having sex, the old man suddenly opened the door and stared at Andy. He pointed at her and said, "I want the girl. I want the girl." At that point, Andy screamed. Adam pushed him out, slammed the door, and called hotel security. Apparently, the old man was a rapist. He was then taken to jail. Number 9 was submitted by huahakzreddit. 3 years ago, Danger Dolan was with his brother and their parents at a hotel near the Black Sea. His dad bought a room for Dolan and his brother. That night, Dolan heard a girl scream. He thought he was dreaming, but then there was a knock at the door. It was an iron door, so no one could have entered. He became very uncomfortable, and suddenly, he heard more knocking. But this time, it was at the balcony. Dolan saw a dark man with yellow glowing eyes. He just stood there, watching them. Dolan hit his brother in the butt to wake him up, and when he saw him, they called 911. When the police arrived, their father was like, "What the hell?" The police found some footprints all over the floor, as well as fingerprints and blood in the bathroom. It was only the second day, and they decided to get out of there fast. Number 8 was submitted by Alyssa Tiny 8386. When Honeybits was 9, her family went to Disneyland. It was their last day there, and her mom was sick, so she stayed in the room. So Honeybits, her dad, her stepsister, cousin, and baby brother went to walk around and check out the shops. They went into a gift shop where Honeybits walked around looking at the candy when a man walked up to her and asked if she wanted him to buy her some candy. She replied,
"I'm not supposed to talk to strangers."
That's when he said, "Come on," and he grabbed her. He started dragging Honeybits as she screamed, but everyone thought she was just throwing a fit until her stepsister yelled to her dad and then yelled at a man who was walking in with his family to grab the kidnapper. The random guy who had just been walking in tackled the kidnapper, and Honeybits' dad started punching and kicking him until security came and took them to the office. The man told the cops that Honeybits was his kid, and they believed him. She spit at the cops and ran into the bathroom where she stayed until her mother came and got her. The cops asked her questions before taking her to the next room and asking her who that man was. The same man who had grabbed Honeybits. She said she didn't know, and the man was arrested. Honeybits ended up getting a bunch of candy from the cops. Number 7 was submitted by that random person 212. When Melissa was 7, her and her father stayed in a motel while on vacation. At midnight, she woke up and looked outside the window. She saw an ominous figure wearing a creepy mask. When Melissa glanced at the time, the figure was gone, but something was left behind. It was a piece of scrap metal that said, "You didn't see anything." Melissa thought,
He was probably trying to break in somewhere.
Just then, he appeared right outside her window and looked directly at her. She quickly ducked down, then looked up again, and he was gone. To this day, her family still does not believe her. Number 6 was submitted by Frank Wad 1. When Pringle was about 11 years old, him and his family went to London. As they were driving, they hit something. Once they got out, Pringle started throwing up and crying because he didn't want to see a dying animal. But then, he looked under the back tires, and both tires were clean. He looked around and got back into the car with his family. As they drove away, he looked behind them, and he saw 2 red eyes staring at him. It had a horrifying grin with messed up teeth. And Pringle, well, he never went to London again. Number 5 was submitted by Dragonflame. When M. Kyle M. was 11, him and his family went to Gettysburg for a reenactment of the Civil War. Now, since it was a reenactment, they had to sleep in tents. During the night, he had to use the restroom, and when he was done, he started to walk back to his tent. It was really quiet and dark, so M. Kyle M., well, he ran to the campground. But then he stopped to see a man in a Civil War jacket with a bloody face. M. Kyle M. was so scared, he couldn't move. The man started walking towards him, so he started to run, but when M. Kyle M. blinked, the man was right in front of him. He was so scared, he couldn't move, and he couldn't breathe. And then the man said in a scary voice, "You shouldn't have come here." M. Kyle M. screamed so loud that the whole campground woke up. His mom ran to see what was wrong. When she asked him what was wrong, he answered,
"The man in the Civil War jacket said we shouldn't have come here."
That's when the whole campground flew off the handle. Number 4 was submitted by Cookiehead 101. When Legna and his family were in New York, they took a taxi to get to their hotel. When they got there, the man said, "All right, that'll be $20.53. They gave him the money, but then he said, "I said $50. They were really confused, so Legna said,
"No, it's $20.53.
That's when the man got very angry, and he pulled out a knife. He said, "Give me the money or die." So they gave him the money. They never rode a taxi again. Number 3 was submitted by Shogun Assassin Alice. When Doopy was 9, she took a vacation with her family to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, to visit a few relatives over the summer. They were staying at her Aunt Pandora's house for the week. One evening, while she was getting ready for bed, Doopy noticed there was a little girl playing near the river next door. She looked up at her, smiled, and waved, and Doopy waved back. She noticed at that moment that the little girl looked a bit wet, like she had just went swimming, but she didn't think that much about it. The next morning, Doopy asked,
Can I play with the little girl next door?
Her aunt replied,
"What girl, sweetheart? The neighbors don't have any children."
Doopy said,
I saw her last night wearing a pink dress.
Her Aunt Pandora's face turned a little bit pale. Quickly she said,
"You must be mistaken. It's probably because you're so tired."
So she just let the conversation go. Some years later, when she turned 15, Doopy went to visit her aunt again, and the night before she left to go back home, she asked her about the little girl she saw when she was 9. Her aunt told her that the little girl was the daughter of the neighbors, and she wound up drowning the summer before her family came to visit. Number 2 was submitted by Echo Flower Moon. Gooby, her sister, and her brother were on vacation to go to Minecon and stay at a hotel. Something creepy caught her eye, however, while in the hotel room. It was a creepy shadow on the left wall across from them, and it was walking closer. Another time, they went into their hotel room to see the bathroom door was open. The staff said that they never left the doors open. And then, in the middle of the night, her sister said that she felt really uncomfortable. Gooby's brother checked under the mattress, and found a woman's dead body. They never went to that hotel ever again. And number 1 was submitted by me. One time, back when I lived in Florida, my dad and me went to go see his friend who had just purchased a new boat. Of course, we went for a ride. We got in the boat and we went miles and miles off the coast of Florida to see the clear blue water. It was awesome. But suddenly, my father's friend said something that it made my heart drop. He said, "We're out of gas." We were stuck out there, floating miles and miles off the coast, with it getting darker and darker every minute. For a moment, my father and his friend started to panic, which caused me to panic. But then suddenly, my father's friend, he opened up this little cupboard near the steering wheel, and inside was an extra container of gasoline that he had completely forgotten about. Even though we were technically only stranded at sea for about 3 minutes, the thought of being lost out in the ocean, it was terrifying. All right, so a huge thanks to the folks over at our Planet Dolan subreddit for submitting their stories. But we have another question for you. What is the creepiest thing that a stranger has ever said to you? Let us know in the Reddit page linked below, and you might be featured in a future countdown. It seems I must leave you now, mortals, but don't worry, I shall return.